Madam Chair, permit me to greet President Ali and Mrs. Ali and other members of your cabinet. Let me say, comrades, good day. Especially our young people who are with us. We're truly happy that you are with us today as we realize that whatever we do in this decade, it is you who will continue beyond. Prior to 70 years ago, the introduction of adult suffrage and the fall of the plutocracy system, investment in agriculture by external forces reduced significantly. Of course, as a region, we moved on. Some of us became independent and republics. And we invested in education, in manufacturing, in technology. But many of us failed to invest in the agricultural sector. Indeed, we have been taught as a nation, as a people, that anything that is foreign is good. And so we enjoy importing foods from other places outside the region. We spend our limited resources that we could use for healthcare systems and other social safety nets to import food, rather than developing our own sector. To be honest with you, when I heard the discussion began on reducing our food import bill 25% by 2025, I was skeptical. As a Caribbean man, I have heard it time and time again, and we have failed. But I am convinced, having seen the energy, the enthusiasm with which your president embarked on this mission, I am convinced that it can come to fruition. Comrades, if ever we think that we need to secure food for the region, is now. Having experienced what happened to us during this pandemic, when we were unable to purchase basic PPEs to protect our peoples, it was withheld from us. I want to ask you the question, what if something happens and the region is not able to produce food? Our people will die. And that is why we must all rally around this vision and put it into practice so that at least we begin to produce food for the nations of the region. It is absolutely critical that we do that. It's embarrassing that 75% of the poultry product I import in my country comes from outside of the region. It is absolutely embarrassing that 85% of the food we eat in Montserrat comes from outside of the region. Why? We spend our monies to extra-regional sources and businesses, and those monies we can use to develop our own sector and to advance the well-being of our peoples. The government of Montserrat is supportive in working with CARICOM to achieve Vision 25 by 2025. Based on this focus, the Ministry of Agriculture in Montserrat has identified a number of priority areas which, with support, we are able not only to produce, but also to export. Why should I be importing onions from North America when my colleagues in the region have lands enough to produce it? I understand that there are some limitations to what we can do, But the biggest factor, the biggest concern we have is not that food is not available in some of our neighbors, neighboring countries. It is getting the food to where it is needed most. And that brings me to the point of connectivity. For over 25 years, the region has been speaking to movement of food from one country to the other. And to this day, we have not succeeded. So then, we now need investment in shipping so that we can move those products from Guyana in the south to Jamaica in the north, from Dominica in the south to Montserrat and Antigua. This is what we need at this point in time. Let us put our money where our mouth is and invest in shipping. And if there is some investor here today or during this week, we call on you to invest in at least 2 ships, one going north, one going south, so that we can move our products from one in Asia, from one country to the next. That is what we need. But when we speak to food security, I also tag on food, nutrition security. So it's food and nutrition security, because any food is not any food. The region has one of the highest numbers of NCDs. How can we tackle that? We must be able to produce our high-value crops, not necessarily market outside of the region, but for use within the region. And so we must begin also to protect the health of our peoples. After 25 years, Montserrat ventured again to producing white potatoes. And we have produced a very successful crop this year. Yes, we are a small population, but we can produce sufficient to export as well. We have produced onions, we produce cabbages, but there is no need for all of us to produce everything. We must begin to specialize. If Belize is producing oranges, I don't need to produce oranges. We need to specialize and seriously produce and get those produced out of our countries to the countries which need them most. And so, irrigation or water is in fact a problem for us in the region. How can we maximize the use of water by using technology to give the crop just enough water that they need, rather than wasting the water on the land? This is where the young people come into play. Use your initiative, use the technology, and help us to maximize the use of the resources that we have to grow our crops. Comrades, these are serious times. We must begin to feed ourselves. We cannot depend on outside source. So countries, my countrymen, my colleagues in the region, let's stop talking and put our monies where our mouth is. Let's begin to invest. I know we don't have sufficient to meet all the needs that we have in our countries. And that is why this week is so important for all of us. Those investors who are here, we trust and hope that you will see the need to invest in the agricultural sector. We have some ideas that we want to share with you later. And even though we are small, and even though we know that you are in this for profit, there are some ventures which has with it a humanitarian side. You may not get the kind of return you want on your investment, but from a humanitarian standpoint, you need to invest in small island states. We are in this together. And I believe that we will make it. And as I said before, I am now convinced that even for once, CARICOM is going to come out with something good. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.